Hello everyone and welcome back to another pre-recorded lesson video. Today is Thursday, October 29th. I'm really excited about this lesson. I think it's really going to help y'all become better writers. So we are going to be talking about writing today and how you can improve your word choices. And I'm really excited about it, okay? So the learning goals is the same as yesterday's. But what we're going to be focusing on today is your descriptive and sensory language, right? We learned about that term in the previous module about in the crossover, right? The specific word choices the author uses. But for today, we're going to be focusing on the specific word choices the author uses in this book to help us clearly see what these soldiers are going through and what war is doing to them, okay? And I'm really excited about this lesson, and hopefully you're starting to get excited as well, okay? So remember, the important question is the one that we're focusing on the most is how did the conditions on the front affect the soldiers? And we're going to be able to see how the conditions are affecting the soldiers by the specific word choices the author uses. This author that we're reading about his book, All Quiet on the Western Front, they do such a good job of being very descriptive with their word choices, their verbs, the nouns, and showing us clearly what is happening to the soldiers and what these soldiers are going through. Like the word choice, and I'll show you examples of specific quotes later on in this lesson. It's absolutely outstanding. Okay, so we're still on 8, 9, and 10, but we're really going to be focusing on lesson 10 today because lesson 10 really focuses on word choice. I do have some couple announcements before we start, but if you want extra credit in this class, what the teachers have started doing is we're holding tutorial sessions at the school in the cafeteria. So if you need help in your classes, come to those tutorial sessions after school. I volunteered to do the tutorial session on Monday, November 2nd. So if you need extra help in my class, come on November 2nd or come on any day this week or any week in the future, and you will get help from the teachers that are there, and you will earn extra credit in my class. If you want more information about that, let me know, okay? So before we jump into specific word choice, I'm going to go over theme again. It seemed like y'all were a little bit confused about theme from the District 9 test I gave out in the last 9 weeks. Remember, theme is underlying message. It is the central idea or the central message. It is the life lesson that the author wants you to know, to take away. It's the important message, the important idea. Okay, remember in the crossover, the theme was about how family is important, right? The theme for this, there are 3 specific themes, but the one that we're going to be focusing on the most for Module 2 is the effect of war on the soldier. That is the main theme that we're going to be focusing on. The other theme, or the horrors of war, the brutality, the pain that these soldiers are going through because of war, right? The other one is nationalism and political power. That's not as big as the other ones. The one I want us to focusing on is the effect of war on the soldier. That is the main theme that we are going to be focusing on today. We are going to go into theme a little bit more in the future lessons, but for today's lesson, I really want us focusing on specific word choices, right? But what I mean by specific word choice is descriptive and sensory language. Remember, what is descriptive and sensory language? Remember, those are words that appeal to our 5 senses. Remember, sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing, right? Those are our 5 senses. And the words that help us clearly see a picture, the word choices that we use help the reader, clearly hear certain noises, see certain stuff, be able to feel certain stuff, right? That is what descriptive and sensory language is. And examples of that are, nouns, verbs, adjectives, but more specific, detailed nouns, verbs, and adjectives. So concrete nouns instead of regular nouns. So instead of saying car, you could say like a specific car, like the Prius, the Honda, the Toyota, right? Instead of regular verbs, you can do active verbs. So instead of passes, you can say chest pass, over the head throw, right? Things like that. And then precise adjectives instead of regular adjectives. So instead of saying the the special championship ring, remember from module 1, you could say the glossy and shiny championship ring, right? You can clearly make the reader picture whatever you want them to, right? You can make the reader picture whatever you want them to by using specific word choices or certain words. And that helps your writing out tremendously. Because remember, we want the reader to feel things, and the reader will feel things when they read your work by you being more specific and making them feel certain emotions that you want them to feel, right? And I'm going to give you all certain examples of that. So examples are descriptive and sensory language. Remember, this is a normal sentence. The soldier shot his gun, right? So whenever you see this sentence, I don't know what you're picturing in your head, right? Because it's so generic and so bland, right? You could picture any soldier shooting any type of gun, right? So a better sentence is the heavy German soldier rapidly fired his rifle. So now instead of you picturing any soldier, you're picturing a German soldier, but a heavy German soldier. So like a bigger, built, like a fatter German soldier, right? And instead of just shooting, he's rapidly firing. So he's excited. He's moving quickly while firing. And instead of you picturing any gun, it could be like a pistol. I'm making you picture a rifle. Does that make sense? So instead of a regular noun, I'm giving you a more concrete noun, a German soldier, and I'm giving you a precise adjective, heavy. Instead of a regular verb, a shot, I'm giving you a more precise or a more active verb, rapidly fired. And instead of a regular noun, gun, I'm giving you a concrete noun, a rifle, right? So again, the normal sentence, the soldier shot his gun, you can be picturing anything in your mind, right? Anything. I have no control what you're picturing because that's up to your own interpretation. But the second sentence, the heavy German soldier rapidly fired his rifle, now I have control over what you're imagining in your mind, right? And we can do that by being careful of our word choice, by being more specific in our word choice, and being more descriptive in our word choice, if that makes sense. Next sentence, the normal generic sentence, the man ran towards his vehicle, right? I don't know what you're picturing whenever you read that sentence. You could be picturing any man, the size, shape, skin color, hair. You could be picturing anything, right? And running, you could be picturing generic running, sprinting, him out of breath while running, right? I don't know. And then towards his vehicle, you could be picturing any vehicle. You could be picturing a Honda, a Toyota, a truck, maybe a motorcycle. That's up to your interpretation because that sentence is so generic and not descriptive at all, right? So a better sentence is, sorry about that. Better sentence is the blonde, pale man sprinted towards the tank, right? Now you are picturing a man that is blonde and extremely pale. And instead of just picturing you running, you see him sprinting as fast as he can towards, instead of any vehicle, now you're picturing a tank, right? Hopefully you are seeing what what I want you to get from this is your writing can improve based on the word choice that you use and how specific that you get with it. Okay? This is where I want y'all's writing to go. Right? I think based off reading y'all's portfolio or what we did in the last 9 weeks, y'all are good writers, right? Y'all know how to structure a story. Y'all know how to tell a story. But the next step we need to take is helping the reader really imagine the story, okay? The next step that we take in your writing ability is being more descriptive, specific word choices. This is what I want to see in y'all's writing. And how you get to that point is whenever you think you're done writing, reread it. Read what you just wrote. That's called revising. Look for any sentences that are sort of generic, like the man ran towards his vehicle, and think, how can I make that more descriptive, and how can I make the reader picture exactly what I want them to, if that makes sense. Okay? Moving on, these are some examples of really great descriptive, sensory, and figurative language that I found in the book. Okay, so for chapter 1, these 3 quotes, y'all should be familiar with these quotes by now, is they're painting a death scene, right? But instead of the author just saying, my friend Kenrick is in the bed dying, or my friend Kenrick looks like he's in pain, look at these quotes and see what the author is doing. It is incredible. He's saying the strained lines that we know so well, on his face. We have seen them now hundreds of times. Under the skin, the life no longer pulses. Death is working from within. It already has command in the eyes. Those are great examples of descriptive and sensory language. Instead of them saying, right, my friend is dying, look how descriptive and vivid the author is going. He is painting a scene of death, but in a way that you are sort of imagining the character and what he looks like now, right? And the last one, death is working from within, already has command in the eyes. That is an example of a figurative language. That is an example of personification. Okay, personification is giving human qualities and human actions to a non-human thing. So the non-human thing is death, and we're giving it human actions of, working or commanding, right? That is an example of a figurative language. It's super easy to use, and it really helps out your writing, okay? For chapter 2, the first one is really just a lot of adjectives. We became hard, suspicious, pitiless, vicious, tough. The author is making you see what they are now, the type of person they are now, by using a series of great, descriptive, precise adjectives. Okay? The next one is perfect, right? The night crackles electrically. The front thunders like a concert of drums. The front thunders like a concert of drums is an example of a simile, right? It is not appealing to your sight, it is appealing to your hearing, right? Now you're picturing the front, which is where all the battles are happening, the front line, where the shots are going down, people are getting injured there. And you're hearing it like people, a group of people playing on the drums, right? Very loudly, very chaotic, extremely loud. That's what the front sounds like, right? So the author, using that simile and the descriptive, words that he did, is making you hear it now, right? So hopefully you're sort of seeing where this is going. The next one for chapter 3, the German airplane, which is another word for airplane, has been shot down. Like a comet, it bursts into a streamer of smoke and falls headlong. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's comparing the German airplane to a comet using the words like, right? So that's an example of a simile. For chapter 4, go and read the chapter summary, that summary PowerPoint, or watch the summary video. That chapter is so good for descriptive and sensory language. The air becomes acrid with the smoke of the guns and the fog. Acrid is another term for bitter, or another word for bitter. So the author is describing what the air smells and tastes like. It's bitter, right? Because of the smoke from the guns. A resource that you could use to help out your vocabulary is a thesaurus. If you don't know what a thesaurus is, just Google it. So what you can do to help out your word choice, you can do thesaurus bitter, right? And what Google's going to do is going to pull up a list of terms or words that you can use instead of the word bitter that are a little bit higher in vocabulary, a little bit more descriptive, right? That is one way to help out your writing, is a great resource. Next quote, the sentence has the sharpness of a bayonet in the moonlight. It cuts clean through the thought. It thrusts nearer and speaks. That is an awesome quote. That is a metaphor and a personification. There's 2 things. So it's comparing the sentence that the person just spoke to the sharpness of a bayonet, which is a blade. A bayonet is a blade at the end of a gun. And it's saying the sentence was sharp as that blade, right? It cut clean through what everyone was thinking. And instead of the author saying stabs or pushes, it's just thrust. Now you're picturing a man thrusting that bayonet, and it speaks. They're saying the sharpness of that bayonet, it's speaking, right? The next one is she is his only friends, like his brother, his mother. That is an example of a personification. They're comparing what they mean by she is the earth. They're comparing the earth, the ground of the earth, and they're saying it shelters the soldiers. Okay. Next one, they have a hoarse, distant bellow like a rutting stag. A rutting stag is a male deer. You know, those deers with those huge antlers, right? And they're comparing the yell that they're hearing to the yell of a rutting stag, a male deer. Right? Instead of just saying they have a yell like a rutting stag, they're saying the hoarse, distant bellow. Remember, bellow is another term for yell. Remember how you can do that is a thesaurus. And they're describing the yell. They're saying it's distant, so it's farther away. It sounds like they're farther away, and it's hoarse. Horses, it sounds like when you sort of lost your voice, that's when your voice is hoarse. It's like it's scratchy, right? That's what they mean. That's what I want y'all to do for your writing. Okay. Next slide is all about figurative language. Similes. They are a great tool for you to improve your writing and make it more descriptive. One is I shoot as flat as a fish over the ground, basically saying the character is diving onto the ground and being as flat as possible. So imagine a fish on the ground, right? Saying like a big soft jellyfish that floats into our shell hole. They talk about gas moving in on them, and now you're picturing like a swarm of jellyfish moving towards you, right? That's how they're describing the gas, right? That's how you can use similes to help describe what's happening in your writing and help it make it more descriptive, right? Hopefully you're getting that. The first quote is fiery red and looks confused. Instead of the author saying the man looked embarrassed, they're saying the man turned a shade of fiery red. Wow, now you're picturing a man, his face turning a shade of bright red, right? Awesome. Instead of the author saying bright red, they said fiery red, like a fire, right? That is what I want y'all to do in y'all's writing, right? Make it more descriptive and help the reader clearly see what you want them to see. It is up to you, right? Hopefully that lesson made sense. Hopefully you understand what I want in y'all's writing, right? That is the level I want y'all to get to, okay? So if y'all have any questions, thoughts, concerns about this lesson, let me know. But other than that, I will see you here for the next pre-recorded lesson video. Bye.